of your headlights. You hesitate for a moment, a flicker of unease in your gut. But the night is cold, and she looks desperate. You're a good person, you tell yourself, as you pull over to offer her a ride. She climbs into the back seat, her movements stiff, her silence unnerving. She gives you an address, a house just a few miles down the road. You start driving, trying to ignore the growing feeling of dread in the pit of your stomach. The silence in the car is heavy, broken only by the soft murmur of the radio. You steal glances at her in the rear-view mirror, but her face is obscured by shadows. She sits motionless, staring out the window, her breath misting the cold glass. You arrive at the address she gave you, a modest single-story house, its windows dark. You turn to tell her they've arrived, but the words die in your throat. The back seat is empty. Confused, you check the locks, convinced she couldn't have gotten out of the moving car, but the doors are still locked and there's no sign of her. An elderly woman answers, her face etched with worry. "That was my daughter," she whispers, her voice choked with grief. "She drowned in the river 20 years ago." Imagine yourself in a quaint, sleepy town, far from the city's hustle and bustle. The air is thick with the scent of honeysuckle, and the only sounds are the chirping of crickets and the distant barking of a dog. You're a stranger in town, seeking solace in the quiet solitude. One night, drawn by an inexplicable urge, you decide to take a walk. The moon is hidden behind a veil of clouds, and the only light comes from the flickering street lamps that cast long, dancing shadows on the ground. You find yourself drawn to the train tracks that snake through the outskirts of the town. The metal rails gleam faintly in the darkness, stretching out like silver ribbons into the unknown. As you walk along the tracks, you hear it, a distant, mournful whistle echoing through the stillness of the night. It seems to come from far away, a haunting melody that sends a shiver down your spine. The sound grows louder, closer, the rhythmic chugging of a train engine accompanying the mournful wail of the whistle. But something feels off. You glance down the tracks, but there's no sign of any approaching lights. The air grows colder, and a strange pressure builds in your ears. The whistle reaches a deafening crescendo, and just when you think you can't bear the sound any longer, you see it. Emerging from the darkness, a spectral train, its form shimmering and indistinct. The windows are dark, but you can make out the ghostly silhouettes of passengers, their faces pale and gaunt. You're frozen in place, paralyzed by fear, as the spectral train barrels towards you. At the last possible moment, you hurl yourself off the tracks, scrambling for safety as the ghostly train roars past. Later, you learn from the locals that a train derailed on those very tracks a century ago, killing everyone on board. Imagine the excitement of moving into a new home, a charming old farmhouse nestled amidst rolling hills and whispering fields. The house is full of character, with its creaking floorboards and antique furniture, its history whispering from every corner. But beneath the surface of its quaint exterior, a darkness lurks, a secret that will soon unravel, threatening to tear your family apart. It starts subtly, with your young daughter complaining of nightmares, her tiny face pale and drawn. She whispers of a man, his face pale and gaunt, his eyes hollow and filled with a chilling emptiness, who watches her at night from outside her window. You dismiss it as childish nightmares, the product of an overactive imagination, adjusting to a new environment. But the nightmares persist, growing more vivid, more terrifying. One night, you're awakened by her blood-curdling screams. You rush to her room, your heart pounding in your chest, to find her trembling in her bed, her eyes wide with terror. "He was there again," she cries, pointing to the window. "The man in the window." You check the window, but it's securely locked, and there's no sign of forced entry. You try to calm her, assuring her it was just a bad dream, but deep down, a seed of unease takes root in your gut. The sightings continue night after night. Your daughter describes the man in chilling detail, his gaunt face, his hollow eyes, the way he seems to float outside her window. Desperate to ease her fear, you install curtains, hoping to block out whatever it is that haunts her dreams. But it's no use. One day, while exploring the dusty attic, you stumble upon an old photograph tucked away in a forgotten corner. It shows a man, his face pale and drawn, his eyes staring vacantly ahead. You turn the photo over, your blood turning to ice as you read the inscription on the back, John, 1872. Died in this house. You decide to leave the house to escape the chilling presence that haunts its halls. Imagine a lush, verdant forest, its canopy thick with ancient trees that reach up towards the sky like gnarled fingers. The air is heavy with the scent of pine needles and damp earth. The ground soft beneath your feet. It's a place of natural beauty, a sanctuary from the noise and chaos of civilization. But beneath the surface of its tranquility lies an ancient evil, a darkness that whispers among the trees, waiting to claim unsuspecting souls. You and your friends, eager for adventure, decide to embark on a camping trip, venturing deep into the heart of this secluded woodland. As the sun begins its descent, casting long, eerie shadows through the trees, you set up camp, the crackling fire providing a comforting warmth against the encroaching darkness. As darkness falls, enveloping the forest in an inky blackness, you gather around the campfire, sharing stories and laughter, the flames casting dancing shadows on your faces. But as the night deepens, the laughter fades, replaced by an unsettling silence. The air grows heavy with anticipation, and the once comforting sounds of the forest transform into something sinister. It starts subtly, a faint rustling in the undergrowth, a whisper of wind through the leaves. But as the night wears on, the sounds grow louder, more distinct. You begin to hear whispers, barely audible at first, coming from the darkness beyond the firelight. They seem to swirl around you, disembodied voices carried on the wind, whispering your names. One of your friends, emboldened by a mixture of curiosity and bravado, decides to investigate the source of the whispers. Armed with only a flashlight, he disappears into the darkness, his footsteps swallowed by the soft earth. Moments later, a blood-curdling scream pierces the stillness of the night. Your blood runs cold, and your heart pounds in your chest as you scramble to your feet, terror gripping you like a vice. You call out your friend's name, your voice is trembling with fear, but the only response is an eerie silence. Imagine yourself as a babysitter, tasked with watching a child in a large, unfamiliar house. Its silence broken only by the ticking of a grandfather clock and the distant hum of appliances. The child's parents are out for the evening, leaving you alone with an unsettling feeling. The house is filled with shadows, the furniture draped in dust covers. The air is heavy with the scent of mothballs and decay. As the night progresses, the child grows increasingly agitated, their eyes darting nervously around the room. "What's wrong?" you ask, your voice betraying your own growing unease. "The clown," the child whispers, their eyes wide with terror. "The clown statue in the corner, it's staring at me." You glance towards the corner, but it's shrouded in darkness. "There's no clown statue there," you say, trying to sound reassuring, but the child insists, their descriptions growing more detailed, more unsettling. They describe a life-size clown statue, its face frozen in a grotesque grin. You try to rationalize the child's fear, attributing it to an overactive imagination, but deep down, a primal instinct whispers a warning. The child's fear is contagious, and soon you find yourself sharing their unease. Unable to shake the feeling that something is amiss, you decide to call the child's parents. As you dial their number, your hand trembling, you steal another glance at the corner. The shadows seem to have deepened, and for a fleeting moment, you could swear you saw something move. The phone connects, and you quickly explain the situation to the child's parents. Their reaction is immediate and chilling. "Get out of the house," the voice on the other end of the line hisses. "Take child's name and run, now." Confused and terrified, you grab the child and flee the house. Later, you learn that the police apprehended an escaped mental patient hiding in the house, a man with a history of violence and a penchant for dressing up as a clown. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed those terrifying tales. If you did, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more spine-chilling stories. Remember to keep the lights on tonight, and if you hear a noise, don't investigate. It might be the vanishing hitchhiker, the midnight train, The stranger in the window, the whispering woods, or even the clown statue coming for you. Sweet dreams, if you can sleep.